Zara pushed the plate away slowly. The gold ring on her finger clinked softly against the ceramic, but her eyes never left mine. The air between us thickened, no longer scented with fried plantain or jollof pepper, but with tension, sour and sharp like the moment before a storm. "You didn't answer me," I said calmly. "What would you do if the person sitting across from you turned out to be your enemy?" Zara smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I'd pray about it," she said. "Then cut them off." I leaned forward. "Before or after they die?" That was it. A flicker. Just one twitch at the corner of her lips. It was almost microscopic, but I caught it. The truth struggling to hide behind well-trained lies. She was unraveling. For the next hour, we ate in silence. Or rather, I ate small, controlled bites to sell the illusion. She barely touched her food, eyes darting between her plate and mine like she was doing silent math. Was I bluffing? Had I poisoned her meal? Was I taking revenge? The truth? I hadn't touched her food. I didn't need poison. The power of doubt was far more effective. By the time we both went to bed, she didn't lock her door, which she normally did. But I did, and I slid the wardrobe in front of it for good measure. The next day, I dropped the final stone. I scheduled the YouTube story release, narrated anonymously, with blurred visuals and coded names. But to anyone who knew, it was obviously about Zara. I sent the private preview link to her phone. The title glared from the screen. I was poisoned by the woman I called sister. Abuja confession, true story. I waited. 10 minutes. Then 15. Then bang. Her door slammed. She stormed into my room, phone in hand, voice trembling. "What the hell is this?" I looked up from my laptop. "Calm. Still. Something I'm sharing with the world before you kill someone else." She stared at me, face pale, fury tangled with fear. "You recorded me? You set me up?" "No," I said softly. "You set yourself up. I just finally pressed record." Then she whispered words I will never forget. "If I go down, you're coming with me." And in that moment, I realized I had no idea how deep her madness really went. Zara's words clung to the walls like a dark fog. "If I go down, you're coming with me." I didn't flinch. Not outwardly. But inside, my heart pounded like thunder behind a calm sky. She stormed out of the room, her bedroom door slamming shut with a violent crack. I sat back in my chair, phone still recording in my lap. I didn't know exactly what she meant, what leverage she thought she had, but the fear in her voice was no longer about being exposed. It was about retaliation. And people like Zara don't fight clean. The next morning, I woke to silence. Zara's room was empty, the bed neatly made, her laptop and handbag gone. But a note sat on the kitchen counter, scrawled in lipstick on a napkin. "Meet me at the old cemetery. Noon. Come alone. No police." I stared at the red letters, my stomach twisting. The Wiz Cemetery, where her mother had been buried, where no cameras watched, where secrets could lie undisturbed. I called Kola. "You can't go there," he said. "Not alone." "I have to," I replied. "She's spiraling." I need to know what she meant. What if she's setting a trap? Then I'll walk in with my eyes open. At exactly 11:58 a.m., I stood among cracked headstones and overgrown weeds. The Abuja heat pressed down like judgment. Dry leaves crunched beneath my flats as I walked toward the far end, where the abandoned graves sat forgotten. Zara appeared from behind an old tree. She looked different. No makeup. No wig. Just her natural hair in thick plaits, eyes swollen from sleeplessness, and a black hoodie zipped up to her chin. She was clutching a small envelope. "You really came," she said. "I want to end this, Zara. But not in silence." She laughed bitterly. "You think you're the only one who's suffered?" Then she held out the envelope. Inside were photos. Rodamai. Zara. And a pregnancy test dated 2 years ago. "He begged me to get rid of it," she said, voice hollow. He said he wasn't ready. Then 3 weeks later, he was with you. My throat tightened. You never told me. Why would I? You were always so shiny. So clean. The girl who made everyone feel safe. She looked at me, eyes burning. But me? I was disposable. I stared at the photos again, the pieces clicking. Zara hadn't just poisoned me because of jealousy. She had poisoned me because I represented everything she had lost. Then she leaned in and whispered, "You're not the first person I've done this to." And in that moment, I realized the graveyard wasn't just symbolic. It might be a confession site. I stared at Zara. Those 6 words froze the breath in my lungs. You're not the first person I've done this to. A gust of wind swept through the cemetery, rustling the dead leaves around our feet. She didn't blink. She wasn't bluffing. What do you mean? I asked, my voice barely audible. Zara tilted her head toward a crumbling tombstone nearby, her eyes glazed over like someone watching a memory play on loop. She was a colleague, Benita, from the salon I worked at before I moved to Guarimpa. She took something from me, my slot at a beauty pageant, lied to the organizers, said I had fake qualifications, made me lose my biggest chance. Her fingers curled into fists. So I gave her herbal tea. Just like you. Small doses. Over time, I took a step back, phone still recording in my pocket. You killed her? Zara exhaled. She got sick. Hospitalized. Eventually they said it was anemia. But I knew what I did. I made her feel what it's like to be erased. Then she looked at me sharply suddenly. I didn't come here to confess because I'm sorry. I came because you need to understand something. Girls like me, we don't get second chances. We take them. She pointed to the photos in my hand. Rodamai didn't just leave me. He betrayed me. You just happened to be the trophy. Her face twisted. You weren't supposed to live long enough to ask questions. I backed up, heart hammering, calculating my options. No police around. No cola. Just me, a phone, and a girl who had crossed too many lines to turn back. Zara reached into her hoodie pocket. My hand instinctively flew to my side, ready to run. But she didn't pull out a weapon. She pulled out a necklace, delicate, gold-plated, with a small pendant shaped like a sunflower. Benita's, she murmured. She gave it to me before she got sick. I kept it. Then, with a sudden sob, she flung it into a shallow grave behind her. Maybe now you'll understand that I'm not a monster, she whispered. I'm just a woman who ran out of choices. But as she turned to walk away, I noticed something glinting in her other hand. A vial. Half full. Pale yellow. And I realized, Zara didn't come to the cemetery for closure. She came for a final dose. My feet were rooted to the cemetery ground, but my instincts screamed, move. Stop her. Now. Zara's fingers closed tightly around the vial. Her shoulders heaved, not from crying, but from conviction. That same quiet storm I'd mistaken for vulnerability so many times before. What's that? I asked, voice sharp. She paused, turned, lifted the vial up just enough for the morning sun to catch its sickly hue. Insurance, she said calmly. In case your video ruins everything. I blinked. What are you talking about? If you post that story, she said, her voice trembling with strange pride, my life is finished. My career, my name gone. But if I die first, I control the narrative. She gave a hollow laugh. I become the victim. The misunderstood sister. The one you drove to suicide. She wasn't bluffing. I saw it in her eyes. Not just pain, but strategy. Zara was ready to poison herself in front of me to flip the script, to turn me into the villain of her final act. I stepped forward. Zara, listen to yourself. You're not thinking straight. Oh, I'm thinking clearer than ever, she snapped. You think a voice note will convict me? In this country? In Abuja? You think they'll arrest me based on something I said? But if I die holding this, she shook the vial. And your story goes viral? They'll say you were tormenting me, that you set me up. She stepped closer. We live in a city that worships image. I die, and I become the face of sisterhood betrayed. I looked into her eyes. And that's when I made my choice. I reached into my bag, pulled out my phone, and showed her the paused video. Unreleased but ready. I never wanted to destroy you, I said. I just wanted the truth to breathe. She hesitated. Then her hand trembled. The vial slipped from her fingers and shattered on the cement tombstone between us. For a full 5 seconds, neither of us moved. She fell to her knees, sobbing, not for guilt, but because the last move on her board had been stripped from her hand. And in that moment, I saw the little girl behind the poison. Abandoned, broken, dangerous. I should have left her there. I should have walked away. But I didn't. And that mistake would cost someone else their life. The weeks after the cemetery confrontation were strangely calm. Zara didn't return to the Guarimpa flat. She packed her things while I was at work, left the keys on the kitchen counter, and disappeared. No note. No call. Just a silence that felt more like a countdown than closure. I should have been relieved. Instead, I felt like a glass vase set too close to the edge. I stayed alert, kept security at work informed, updated my locks, and even slept with my phone in my palm. But no one saw her. Not in salons, not in woods, not even at her old haunts in Jabi. It was like Zara had vanished with the Harmattan haze. Until the phone rang. It was Kola. His voice was strained. You need to sit down. I was already standing in the middle of my office, clutching a file. What happened? He hesitated. It's not Zara. It's Rodomai. My heart dipped. What about him? He's dead. The word shattered the air like a plate against tile. No. No. He was fine. I saw him 2 days ago. He was found in his apartment. Jabi. Unresponsive. Empty bottle of palm wine on the table. I dropped the file in my hand. Do they think it was natural? Kola sighed. They're calling it cardiac arrest. But you and I both know, Rodomai didn't have any health issues. And he never drank palm wine. My knees gave out. Zara. Later that evening, I walked into Rodomai's flat. It smelled like bleach and incense. His sister had just finished cleaning. On the table still sat the half-full cup of palm wine, now crusted over at the rim. The same kind Zara used to pour at celebrations. Rodomai's toothbrush was still wet. His shoes were neatly arranged. But the most haunting thing was the envelope on his desk. Addressed to me. No stamp. No seal. Inside was a note handwritten. If anything happens to me, please know I was sorry. I should have protected you sooner. I collapsed into the chair. She had gotten to him. When her last weapon failed at the cemetery, she'd reached for the one I never thought she'd touch, my heart. As I sat there weeping, my phone lit up with an unknown number. One message. No name. 141. We're not done yet. Zara was back. And this time, she wasn't after me. The message burned on my screen. 141. We're not done yet. I read it again. And again. It was unsigned. Untraceable. But I didn't need a signature to know who it was from. Zara had vanished from sight, but not from strategy. Rodomai's death wasn't an ending. It was her next move. And I knew then, with sickening certainty, I wasn't the only target anymore. I rushed to Kola's house in Lugby before the sun set. The air was tense with the weight of the unspoken. When he opened the door, his usual calm was cracked by worry lines. She's not done, Kola. He locked the door behind me. I figured. I've been checking my car twice a day. Haven't even used my gas stove since you sent that screenshot. I handed him a USB drive. Copies of everything. Her confession, the tea analysis, even the message she just sent. If anything happens to me, release them. He looked at me like I'd already started fading. You're not dying, Nneka. No, I said, but someone else already did. We stayed up planning next steps, going through legal options, digital trails, and even relocation ideas. Around midnight, I offered to sleep on the couch. I didn't want to be alone. Kola made hot chocolate. We talked about things we hadn't before, Rodamai's final months, Zara's manipulations, the way silence becomes a weapon long before a crime is committed. We fell asleep. Lights on. At 3:41 a.m., I woke to the smell of smoke. Not from the kitchen. Not from the air. From beneath the door. I jumped up, coughing, eyes stinging. Kola burst out of his room at the same time, shirtless, wide-eyed. The back window now. Flames were crawling up the wooden door like fingers of rage. We kicked through the back exit, just as the curtains caught fire. Outside, barefoot and breathless, we watched his home burn. The fire brigade arrived late, as expected. By then, everything was gone, papers, laptop, furniture. If I hadn't given Kola that USB drive just hours earlier, everything would have been lost. But I knew. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't random. Zara had set the house ablaze. Or worse, hired someone to do it. As we stood outside the smoking ruins, a stranger in a delivery bike helmet rode past. He didn't stop, but he tossed something from his bag. It landed at my feet. A matchbox. From the same spa Zara and I went to the day before I stopped drinking her tea. She was still sending messages. In fire. By morning, Kola's apartment was nothing but ash and blackened walls. And the matchbox? It was a signature. Not just a warning, but a taunt. Zara was telling us, "You think this is over? I'm just getting started." I clutched the USB drive like it was a living thing. It was all we had left, our only proof of a woman who had danced with death and smiled. Kola paced what used to be his hallway, barefoot, covered in soot. "I'm done playing defense," he said. "We're going to the authorities. Today." And we did. But Abuja wasn't a movie. And justice doesn't always come with a badge. We met with an inspector at the FCT police headquarters, Detective Adesina. Quiet, in his late 40s, with a sharp mustache and a sharper gaze. He listened. Patiently. But the more he heard, the more he frowned. "You have no physical proof she set the fire," he said. "No eyewitnesses. No camera footage. And the voice note, yes, it's damaging. But without a victim or a body tied to her actions, it's circumstantial." I almost screamed. "She poisoned me. She confessed to killing someone else. And did you report it when it happened?" he asked gently. "Or only now, after you've recorded her, created a video, and uploaded evidence online?" My mouth went dry. The video. It had crossed 400,000 views. And that, apparently, made me a suspect too. "She claims you're harassing her," Adesina added. "She filed a protective notice this morning." Zara had struck first. For a moment, it felt like we were losing again. Until Kola did the unthinkable. He pulled out a brown envelope and slid it across the table. Inside, printed transcripts of the voice notes. Digital forensics showing file creation on Zara's laptop. A lab report with his signature confirming the oleander extract. Photos of Rodamai's toxicology report, which he had discreetly obtained from a cousin in the coroner's office. Adesina's eyes narrowed. "This is compelling. It's enough to detain her," Kola said. "You delay, someone else dies." The detective leaned back. "Where is she now?" I answered without blinking. "She's at the spa. She goes there when she wants to feel untouchable. That afternoon, she was arrested. Right in front of the mirror she loved so much. No struggle. No scream. Just a smile. The same one she used to wear when she served me poisoned tea. And as they let her out, she whispered, 'This isn't justice. It's revenge. And revenge never ends well.' And you know what? She was right. Because that night, as I opened my front door, there was a white envelope on my floor. Inside, a photo of me, sleeping, taken just 3 nights ago. The photo fell from my trembling fingers, fluttering to the tiled floor like a leaf laced with poison. It was grainy, but clear enough. Me, sleeping, in my own bed, 3 nights ago, long after Zara had disappeared. The bed sheet, the headscarf on my head, even the bottle of lotion on my nightstand, all exactly as I remembered. Someone had been inside my house while I slept, and now they wanted me to know. I locked every bolt on the door, shut every curtain, and dropped to my knees behind the couch. I dialed Kola, heart racing. He picked up instantly. "You saw it. She was in my room, Kola. Or someone she sent. She's in custody." "No. Someone else is involved. Or she planned for this before the arrest." He went quiet. "Then, we missed something." I agreed. "But what?" The next day, I returned to the flat in Gwarinpa, this time with a private locksmith and a new security consultant. We changed every lock, installed motion cameras, and swept the place for hidden devices. That's when we found it. A tiny button camera behind the decorative mirror in the hallway. Hardwired. Activated by motion. Transmitting somewhere. Zara had been watching me, maybe for weeks. Maybe longer. And we only found it because I stopped trusting the mirror she gave me. It was never a gift. It was a window. The police reopened the Benita case, and Zara, when presented with the new photo, finally broke. But not in the way we expected. She didn't deny it. She didn't cry. She simply said, "I wasn't the only one involved." And with a dry laugh, she dropped a name. Benita's ex-fiancé. A pharmacist. Still living in Abuja. Still working. Still free. That night, I received a final message. No number. No sender. Just 4 words. The game isn't over. And beneath it, a video file. Zara, sitting calmly in a prison cell, smiling into the lens, saying, "Now, let's see what you'll do when the poison doesn't come from me."